Hey, Omega.
Yes, Gunner.
So this week has been very, very interesting in the week that is wrestling. You know that?
Also.
Well, one very, very important thing happened.
Which is?
Well, there was a particular individual who decided to call it quits.
Quits,
and ladies and gentlemen, the individual is Net Jester. He is quitting the show, and he will never ever be back, ever. Let's start the show. Yank him.
Will do.
Yeah. Come on, yank him.
Last no time for juggle. Last no time for juggle around. Just quiet down your shadow. We can pro wrestling. It's no laughing matter, baby. In fact, wrong to track down blue. You'll be good at laughing times if you only listen to. Whoa, serious. Oh, get serious. Whoa, get serious.
And that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 158 of We'll Get Serious. My name is Gunner, and that is Omega BR.
I'm gonna miss that crazy bastard. Like the deserts miss the rain.
Yeah, and you know who he's going to be replaced by? Russo. Vince Russo. Because it's a swerve, because NetJester isn't really here, but that is Omega BR. And joining us this week also is our wonderful technical producer who has done nothing this week but, abandon us, Yankum DDS.
So it turns out that if you don't switch your mouse profile, pressing the button that you had programmed as the talk button does nothing.
Go figure. Mr. Yankum DDS fucking up on another technical issue. Anyways,
Hey, if it ain't broken, I can bring it.
Yeah, this just proves you know who is the glue.
Oh god, you're very right. Here we go. Here's the news. We're going to start off with what everybody's been talking about, which is Daniel Bryan, who was pulled from the remainder of European tour as a precautionary measure after suffering some kind of injury at a Dublin Live event in a six-man tag. The company denies he suffered a concussion, but are keeping quiet on what the issue is exactly. He was originally picked to challenge John Cena on last week's Raw, and then he questioned Bryan's decision to not have a second surgery during his absence, including Cena himself. There were rumors that Seth Rollins' curb stomp finisher is banned to draw attention away from potential head injuries. While it isn't actually prohibited, Rollins will be using a new DDT facebuster as his primary move from now on, so he can hit it on anyone, anywhere. Which I thought the curb stomp did really well, but apparently not. Meanwhile, despite Steve Austin claiming there's no heat between them, WWE reportedly sent a cease and desist letter to ProWrestlingTees.com over some Steve Austin designs in his official shirt store, one of which is a Getty image, which they may not have given permission for, and the other is an NWO parody logo for his Broken Skull Ranch. So, the WWE being extremely passive-aggressive here.
Well, there's obviously something going on. I mean, Austin probably doesn't think it's a big deal, but you know how they get when people, even close friends, even huge legends, don't do what they like,
I mean, look at what The Rock is definitely a victim of that.
Yeah, he is. In what way?
I'm not real sure that everyone needs to have a finishing move that they can hit on anyone, anywhere. That shit gets old.
Yeah.
The whole point of a finisher is to do that. You know, you got to be able to hit it on any. The best kinds of finishers are the ones that you can hit on anyone, anywhere, at any time. That's why the RKO is like the best finisher.
This is gonna go into. I can see it now. It's gonna go into Orton territory, and it's gonna be out of nowhere.
Well, that's perfectly fine. That's what it's supposed to be, you know. But the problem becomes is, whatchamacallit, why change the other move? Because I personally like the other move better as a, you can hit it on anyone at any time.
Yeah, it really did. As long as they were in that position, it really was something that, he could just run up and do. Really, the rumors, I think, stem from the idea of head injuries and not doing, kicks to the head. Well, like a curb stomp, as an action is actually kind of a brutal action. So I think this is sort of it's kind of like with Orton's punt. Orton doesn't use the punt very often. It's sort of a big time devastation move, and I think that's what they're going for here. They're going to save the curb stomp for, big matches, big teases, that kind of thing. Although I will say that the move he's replacing it with is really just Dirty Deeds. If you've seen it, Ambrose does Dirty Deeds. He grabs him by the back of the neck, back of the head from behind, and then he kicks his foot up, and then swings back and kind of lets their bodies fall, and his head, let their head hit the mat. It's the same thing, same concept, even the same leg kick. It's just Ambrose does it from the front as if he's going to give him a DDT or a suplex, and then,
Whatever. I mean, just as long as he's happy with it, and then it's better, to me, the curb stomp is the superior move. And he doesn't even do it right. I thought the curb stomp was supposed to be a Mexican surfboard setup, and then instead of the Mexican surfboard, you just stop, you let go of their arms and stomp on their face.
Well, that's the other thing, he never, it's not like he ever just kicked them as hard as he could. They their head they almost sort of jumped for no reason. Their head bobbed up as he hit the move. But it was still, you're right, it is the superior move. It looked a lot better, and it was a lot more unique, and it actually looked like it could actually devastate some of these main event people, since, he's the champion and still.
I'm looking forward to, by the way, a year from now, at least, when Daniel Bryan is actually healthy. Because I'd love for that to happen.
Yeah, I would almost say just stay away for as long as you need to, even if it's over a year. Now, granted, if he gets injured again, then you don't really have control over that. But I mean,
it's not like Kevin Nash style injury, where he's out for 9 months and then tears his quad in his first match back. But I really hope that he actually gets healthy, because I really want to not talk about 6 months from now, Daniel Bryan still's got these nagging injuries and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're in an environment now where guys do retire if they feel, edge, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Speaking of retiring, well, not really, but Taz has officially left TNA following the dispute where he refused to fly to Nashville, allegedly over the pay delays across the board. Matt Hardy and Havoc both defended the company, saying they've had no issues with payments. The Great Sonata is also gone from the roster, now heading back to Wrestle 1 in Japan. Dave Meltzer reports that the honeymoon is definitely over with Destination America, as they're cutting programming hours from TNA. Apparently they were expecting them to bring a much larger audience over from Spike, despite Impact remaining the highest rated show in the history of the network by far. TNA is also back in talks with AAA about sending a 3-man team to the Lucha Libre World Cup Trios tournament in late May that will also feature teams from Ring of Honor and some other promotions. Pro Wrestling Noah. Only 2 teams are actually going to represent AAA in that tournament, one of which will be the team of Alberto El Patron, Rey Mysterio, and the original Sin Cara, Mystico, now going by Mystiques.
Well, why would they expect... Sorry, go ahead, Gunnar.
Well, goodbye, Taz from TNA. Hello, Taz, back to WWE, I would imagine, to work with Joey Styles and do his own thing there in Red Hook with his finishing academy and whatnot.
That would be something, considering they haven't really found a good groove with announcers. You know, ever since they really made the decision to officially kind of get rid of Jim Ross or move him to SmackDown or whatever, they haven't really found their real replacement. They kind of like Renee Young, but you know, hearing her on commentary on NXT, you know, she's enthusiastic, but she needs polishing, definitely. And otherwise, there's a bunch of random faces that, you know, aren't bad but aren't anything special so far. Byron Saxton, the other guy they have now that does, and I don't even know his name.
I know who you're talking about, but yeah, it's definitely not something that's...
Yeah, you know, they've got Lawler back on SmackDown.
Which I didn't understand why they put Lawler on SmackDown. I mean, I understand to a point, but I don't think that he's, you know, doing well over there at all.
And Booker T is a good announcer, but not necessarily a great one, or at least he hasn't been since the move to Raw. I mean, it's really not, you know, there's no real noticeable change and improvement or anything. I mean, it's just, you know, they're almost kind of interchangeable. They're all, you know, no offense to any of them, really, not even Cole, because, you know, maybe I'm just used to hearing him by now, but...
And I love it how Cole is just suddenly back.
Right. Not, like, they couldn't even put a neck brace on him, come on.
They just assumed...
Well, they did keep him off. They did keep him off for a couple of weeks, to be fair.
For 2 weeks, yeah, and they dropped a lawsuit, They dropped the lawsuit fucking thing really quick. I mean, that's ridiculous. They also, you know, I mean, and think about this for a second here. If Byron Saxton had actually stepped up to the plate and didn't do a shitty job, he would be in this position right now. But no, they had to bring back Michael Cole, and they had to fuck everything up because of exactly what Mike is talking about right here.
Can we just take a second to ponder to ourselves why Destination America would think that TNA would bring them, like, super high ratings?
Well, TNA.
Apparently, unlike Spike, Destination America really does not know anything about wrestling or what makes it popular or anything, and they just kind of assumed that, you know, wrestling fans like watching wrestling no matter what channel it's on. But as Meltzer points out, it's just the nature of TV when you have, you know, X amount of households with Spike and, you know, so many less with Destination. I mean, you know, even TNA has a pretty loyal audience, but, you know.
Right, and here's the other thing. You've got it on a channel whose primary programming is, it's restaurant reviews, like guys going around and going into restaurants and looking for, like, weird food and shit, and guys looking for the fucking what's his name, Survivor Man, looking for Bigfoot. Like, that's your primary That's the primary programming, and then you're throwing in fucking TNA wrestling like in the middle of that. Like, it's just not gonna.
The three A's, like I said, Amish, Alaska, and I forget what the third one is. Aliens.
Is it assholes?
Yeah. Well, not really aliens. Bigfoot and ghosts and.
So what you're saying is you're not saying it's aliens, but
It's fucking aliens.
Well, really, I mean, have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
nobody's
Well, yeah,
ever seen a Bigfoot because there's no such fucking thing.
Well,
Have you ever seen
when
an
I put on my
alien? I
shoes.
rest my case.
Speaking of, no, I don't have a good transition for that. So Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore has signed a deal to appear on the Fight Network. ROH announced that they have re-signed the Briscoes to a new 2-year contract. Part of their decision involved their chicken farm business and the desire not to have to move it. Ricky Steamboat confirmed that his son Richie, a former FCW champion, won't be able to wrestle anymore due to injuring 4 discs in his back and the following surgery. WWE has offered masked Texas wrestler Laredo Kid a deal. Shawn Michaels appeared on the Ross Report and said that he has the ability to be involved in whatever he'd like to take part in with the WWE, adding that they want him to wrestle next year at WrestleMania 32. He also said that he wanted to make the jump to WCW to be with friends, but Vince McMahon wouldn't let him, telling him that he would be athletically stifled.
That would have been true. Completely true. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't
dude,
think so.
You're totally wrong. He would have been Jericho'd. Completely.
No,
There really were
because
no
he's friends-
Shawn Michaels in WCW. It wasn't like it was all pretty much the big guys, the big names, the big names who were big, who were champions.
Except you're forgetting one thing, and that's that Michaels was friends with Hall and Nash.
Yeah,
And
but
they would not have
Pac
let
was
him.
too. Pac was too, and look where that got him. You remember Pac's WCW run?
But nobody remembers Pac's WCW run? That's
My
not the point. Because here's the thing: can you really compare a Shawn Waltman to a Shawn Michaels, like performance-wise? Those
Sure
two
you
aren't
could.
even close.
Sure, you could. Shawn Waltman in his heyday was actually, comparable, very comparable to HBK at that particular time. HBK was only fucking over because he was champion, and he was able to be champion. And
I don't think that's true at all. I don't think it's true at all that he was just over because he was champion.
No,
I think he was over because
he was over. Yes, he was over, but I don't think he would have been as over as he was if it wasn't for the fact that he was involved in the main event, as opposed to people like Psycho Sid or anybody else that would be involved in the main event during that particular time.
I don't agree with that at all. I think somebody with that much personality and raw talent can't really be held back like that, especially if they're hanging out with at that time in WCW, if their primary friends are going to be Hogan, Nash, and Hall. They would have found something for him to do.
Okay.
But he wouldn't be the main attraction, which he really kind of was in WWE, and a lot of it was probably Vince, trying to protect his interests. But again, the way WCW full of politics, they were kind of at the top in Nash and Hall, but you have certain things. Would Michaels get along with Hogan? I don't know. That's kind of the wild card, I think, in this argument.
It's cool the Briscoes are staying with ROH. I don't blame them for not wanting to move their chicken farm. I mean, we all know chicken is friendly, but
they've got a good deal with it going where they are. And I think it's pretty cool that Tommy actually got a TV deal for the House of Hardcore.
yeah, that's. I can't wait to see it. I don't know if I even have Fight Network, but if I don't, I'm going to figure it out.
The Fight Network is actually Canadian.
It's more of an international thing, yeah.
But it's fine. But if you have like an extensive package, basically, you probably have it. All right, let's.
I do have an
here.
extensive package.
No, you just don't. Speaking of things that you just don't have, the fans who rushed the ring during the UK SmackDown last week were actually from a YouTube prank show called Troll Station, and the wrestlers laughed off their appearance. Tommy and Doug Gilbert are suing the WWE and ESPN, arguing they never gave permission or got compensation for their likenesses in Global Wrestling Federation footage. Elijah Burke appeared on the Rack radio show and said that he was begged to play the head Mandingo fighter in Django Unchained, but stayed loyal to TNA and appeared on a live Impact for a Battle Royal to start out the Bound for Glory series. I think that's a lie. Chris Jericho noted on Twitter that he met Yoko Ono in the men's room at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, apparently after Ono did not want to use the women's room. And finally, WWE Games announced that WWE 2K15 will be released on Windows PC this spring, and that DLC content will be free. It is currently $45 or your regional equivalent on Steam, and we will be reviewing that.
Coming out in like a week, actually.
Yeah,
Dude! E-Feds everywhere. There will be E-Feds everywhere. and it'll be glorious.
But for some reason, Paige isn't included in that DLC.
What?
I don't know why. I just heard that she wasn't. And I think she was even free on the console.
Let me take a look here.
Well, you know about that Burke thing. He really... Oh, you think Burke is lying that he got the role?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, it sounds plausible. It's not like he's claiming that he was second choice for Drax or anything. I mean, he is...
apparently there's a thing for how you unlock her after you download the whole thing.
Let's assume it is true for a second.
Okay, so here's
it's kind of foolish to stay loyal to TNA of all thing. All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she...
No, I'm not saying anything you would already know.
If he actually had the chance to play that Mandingo fighter and didn't take it to stay loyal to TNA, he's an idiot, and he deserved what he got.
Yes. Alright, was there anything else here? Let's see.
You know what? Now what's...
Laredo Kid, I don't know who that...
I don't know anybody, by the way, who's done a bigger heel turn on the fans than Chris Jericho in the past, year. Just me, or?
It is pretty weird how he's gotten very politically correct. I mean, he's very... It's kind of weird how a lot of these guys who were always sort of seen like they got mistreated, and then you kind of think about it again, and you're like, well, no, not really. He's been world heavyweight champion. He's had a lot of money and exposure and appearances, and then they kind of back up the company on certain things. I think the Roman Reigns thing was the biggest thing, and that I think was sort of a misinterpretation. I think he did a poor job of explaining that he feels that Reigns has a lot of potential and is sort of a huge star in the making, which is probably the truth. It's just that it's the company's fault that he's looking so terrible right now. Although he's always been kind of cheeky when it comes to things like, messing with messing with fans and saying he's not doing something when he really is, which, by the way, is really annoying. I mean, why just say nothing instead of line.
Right. It's really just
it's weird. People will turn on someone that 2 years ago they would sing the praises of endlessly.
Well, to be fair, it's a lot at once. I mean, it's not like this is just, he said Reigns was good, and people thought, well, he's brainwashed this and that. I mean, there's the Reigns thing. It's kind of, he's made some snarky comments about, nobody likes to hear that whole spiel of, the fans just don't know. Because even though it's the truth, it's not like we don't know anything,
Right, I just like the whole, he's a corporate shill now. I've heard the word shill so many times.
Oh, yeah,
shill.
I mean, that's a little harsh, I think. I think he obviously supports the company, but,
Here's the thing.
I think he's playing it smart. He's just trying to make sure he can get a paycheck still. Because I don't see him doing, because you don't hear him doing anything else. I mean, what's Fozzy doing right now?
Well, you kind of do. He's got that web series. Well, you always hear him doing something, like a web series or a music project, but you never really see or hear it. You hear about it, but you never hear it,
Right. Let's put it this way: what of any of those things, to further your point, there is actually making him money? I mean, really, Fozzy to me at this point doesn't seem. I mean, they seem like they're having, they're fine and they keep, water stable, if you would. If they're keeping their heads above water, but it doesn't seem to me that he's making hands over fists at this particular point. So in my opinion, it seems to me like potential money grab, and he knows that he can go bread and butter WWE and just make a bunch of money and do what Rob Zombie does essentially, which is what Rob Zombie makes a whole album and then puts it out so they can fund his movies. I think Jericho is Jericho might be funding a Fozzy album or something, or he wants a second house or some more shit.
Well, I think he's probably pretty well off, but he does still love the wrestling and he loves doing WWE. And you're right, he does like the convenience of doing it when he wants and everything, and kind of feuding with who he wants. Even though a lot of his feuds lately have just been, well, I lost to him, so I guess that means he's better off, but not really.
Right.
But I think part of it too is he doesn't want to end up in a situation like Austin's seemingly in right now, where Austin kind of does what he wants, and then the company has a problem with it, and then I mean, by what he wants, I mean the whole speaking out, this and that.
Right.
Yeah, you want to say anything? We really kind of
I still love Jericho. That's all I have to say about it. I love Jericho.
Oh, I do too. He's my favorite of all time, really. But it's good. Playing politics. You gotta call it like you see it in a way.
Right. I can't be one of those people that, like, even if I disagree with him, I'm not gonna be like, well, never actually liked him.
Well, nobody should ever do that. People obviously do, because certain venues allow for exaggeration and all. But
exactly, and I still like Jericho. I think he's great. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I don't have to. That's the great thing about the world, It doesn't just move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you might not be right for some.
Okay, so
a man is born.
Enough.
He's a man of means. And then along comes two. They got nothing but the dreams. It takes
you know what that sound means? It's time for
the 15 minutes.
No, that's not at all what that sound means. That means it's the end of the 15-minute time limit.
Well, it was the end of the 15 minutes.
But this week, in fact, we're talking about Extreme Rules and predictions for the one night a year when WWE comes up with a bunch of stupid match concepts.
Is it just me?
Okay,
Looking at this card, it looks like they brainstormed a bunch of ideas and then just used them all.
It really kind of does. I mean, there's some really basic stuff in here, like, your street fight and your last man standing, but then there's stuff that just, doesn't seem to make sense anymore, or that they don't really do. The whole, well, let's just jump right into it first. We got Cesaro and Tyson Kidd apparently playing the face role against the New Day for the tag team titles on the pre-show.
I don't know that the New Day are actually heels. I mean, nobody likes them, but I don't think they're actually.
Well, they aren't yet.
Nobody likes them. They
point.
Cheat, but they don't. I think
They
they're
just don't
actually
like
baby faces. Anyway, this should be a tornado tag match. I mean, if you're going to have an Extreme Rules pay-per-view where, the gimmick is that everything is fucking extreme, let's not start the night off with just a regular old fucking tag match.
Hold on a second. Stop the presses. Missy Hyatt, whose real name is Melissa Hyatt, was arrested back in March 26, 2015 in Tallahassee, Florida, in her hometown for grand theft. She's 51 years of age. Hyatt was booked into Leon County Jail and released following the day. According to Leon County Sheriff's booking report in Florida, charged noted as grand theft is $300 or more, but less than $5,000. Usually the course gives additional details on the arrested person line or anywhere in public to see. In this case, it was not. She's facing a felony in the 3rd degree, which is punishable by 5 years in prison.
It's not breaking news. That's in the format that I haven't filled out yet.
What?
What? Where?
Well, I guess I haven't filled it out yet.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I
was supposed to go in the happy trails, you fucking jump the gunner. That's what we're calling you from now on. You're jump the gunner.
I kind of like that.
That's funny.
Can we do the time limit now?
Anyway,
yes. Put the time back on the clock.
The problem is with the New Day. Well, they got a okay thing going where they can be heels and they act like faces. That's pretty classic, and it's a perfect setup since people legitimately do not like this gimmick. My only concern is they're kind of all jumbled up with ideas right now. You've got Cesaro and Kidd, who are, a pretty dynamic team, but are they really going to work as the face team? They're really better as, I mean, that's kind of the thing with WWE. If something's popular, then it must be face, and if something doesn't work, then it must be heel, and that's not really how the storytelling works. That there can be good heels that are bad guy characters that are popular, and I know that's not the fundamental way to do it, and you don't want a complete Bizarro show, but again, that's where the creative juices have to flow, and
Cesaro's Kidd retain. I mean, that's basically the gist of this. And then you've got
I don't know. I think maybe they're just silly enough to make them drop.
Okay, and then what? New Day Freebirds the titles for? Actually, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because they just certain ideas they just jump the gun with, and this kind of feels like one of them. Because I think they think that the New Day are getting booed, so they have to swap them to heels as fast as possible.
All right, well, enough of this match. Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper in the Chicago Street Fight. I've got Ambrose getting his win back, if you would.
Ambrose hasn't won a pay-per-view match in, I think, 11 straight pay-per-views. That's
breaks the streak.
The statistic I heard
this time.
I think so, yeah. And really, I'm not even... This is one of those matches they do at the last minute. You're not even really sure why it's on the card, but...
Well, it makes sense, actually, because they brought it in from WrestleMania when basically Luke Harper eliminated Ambrose from the ladder match by powerbombing him through a ladder.
Well, it makes sense, but it feels like it all just kind of...
it feels like we had a month where nothing happened, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, remember what happened when?
Right.
So it's not Paige anymore. It's Naomi versus Nikki Bella. And again,
Because Paige is doing a movie.
and again, you have the heel in Nikki Bella, I guess, playing the face because Naomi's the heel.
Right. So basically, the Bellas flipped-flopped again, Big Show style.
Yeah, you know,
We'll get to that match later on, but
It might be more. It might be more likely that Naomi wins the Divas title here than the New Day winning the tag titles.
I agree with that. I believe it's Naomi's time.
It is Naomi's time. She deserves it. Because she's not bad. In the grand scheme of divas, she's decent.
Oh yeah, she's great. But the thing about Naomi, you know, if she had turned heel back when she was doing that kind of thing with The Miz, that would have been pretty good. Now it feels like it's just happening for no reason, really. It's just happening.
and you know, it's almost like
She's good, but she was good 4 years ago, too. And now all of a sudden, I guess, because AJ's gone, she gets her shot. I mean, that's... And the ironic thing is, that's kind of what she's basing this whole thing on. But...
I felt the same way about it being, just random, like they were just doing it to do it at first. But then she gave that, she did that promo.
Kick-ass promo.
Yeah, and she's talking about why is it I've already earned the number one contender spot, and then we're having this Divas Battle Royal for a number one contender spot. I've already got it. Why, and I was like, this is good. So I like that I like where she's going with this. I just, they're going to fuck it up. But I like where it's at right now.
it does have potential, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure who wins, to be honest. I might put down Naomi just because it feels like they could.
I'm putting down Naomi personally because I think it's time that the Bellas flop it over and that they can actually feud and do something with themselves. And here's the match that everybody's been looking forward to: Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus in a Kiss Me Arse match. That's exactly what I want to see.
Sheamus wins!
Pretty surprised they're even doing this match.
But not that it's necessarily the PG climate anymore. I mean, it's PG-13, if anything, but...
They won't do anything. They won't do anything with it.
You're right. Either Ziggler's gonna win and Sheamus will, just welch, and then, that's what bullies do.
Also, he's Irish, not Welsh.
Like a Welch. Welch on
Welch
the
to
bet.
bet.
That's where it comes from.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Today I learned. I got Ziggler going over, and then and then Sheamus doing some shenanigans or something like that, and getting out of the whole stipulation. I don't see Ziggler putting his face right in Sheamus's butt. That would be disgusting because he wouldn't be able to white balance that because it just would be white. Roman Reigns versus the Big
Or
Show.
you could give him a
last
headbutt
man
to the
standing
butt.
match.
And
Pretty much.
never mind.
Pretty much. Roman Reigns versus Big Show, last man standing match. The less that's said about this match, the better. I'm looking forward to the crowd reaction in this match as opposed to the match itself.
Well, obviously he's going to give him a Superman punch, and Big Show will be down. I will say this. Is it possible to redeem Reigns? Is he already been ruined beyond repair? I say no.
No.
But they need to do matches like these where he actually, feuds and struggles against guys like Show or Kane or whoever, Wyatt maybe, and the matches are good. That's the thing. The matches have to be good. He has to convince people in the ring that he's a sight to see. And the match with Bryan was supposed to do that, and it didn't really. So,
Right, exactly. It's not that good. He's not that good, and it's just ridiculous.
Speaking of Brian, if he can compete, which it sounds like he can't.
I'm going to guess no, and this isn't going to happen. Daniel Bryan versus Bad News Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship. If he can compete, I'm going to say Barrett wins.
I think what they might do instead is he can't compete, and they make Barrett versus Ziggler versus Sheamus, and maybe Sheamus wins the title, and then they kind of scrap the whole arse thing.
Pretty much. I'm thinking that it might turn into that. John Cena versus Rusev in a Russian chain match for the United States Championship. If Rusev wins this one, I will eat my hat.
What's that? They're gonna just make a piss bet?
I made a hat bet, actually. The hat will be made of nacho chips.
Whoa, stop the show. Is that a thing?
Yeah, dude, it's a thing.
What? Hold on,
Yeah, hold on.
nacho hat. Hold on, I'm Googling that. You guys go ahead.
It's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be, well, I'm not even sure if it'll be a fun match to watch, because it's one of those deals where they can't just be tied to a chain. They have to do the whole smack the four corners. Actually, now that I think about it, because they have to smack the four corners, I could actually see Rusev winning, and they have sort of a final confrontation at Payback where they do, like...
The title's on the line.
I don't know,
the title wasn't on the line, Rusev would win. But the title's on the line. They're not going to flip flop the title like that.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, never mind.
Cena's winning.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, Rusev's gonna get close, and then Cena's gonna,
Here's what's gonna happen. Rusev's gonna beat the shit out of Cena for about 12 and a half minutes, and then Cena's gonna make a comeback, and then he's gonna win with either the attitude adjustment or the STF. And
Did you know that
or the springboard stunner.
the exact same pay-per-view, they had the exact same match? Only with a strap match between JTG and whatchamacallit, Shad Gaspard. And they immediately afterwards, they played a commercial for KFC Double Down. So I'm expecting some sort of commercial for, like, borscht and vodka or something, right immediately after this match.
Or maybe
Here's
some
the thing.
baked beans.
If you're going to do this match, I think you have to do it with, I don't remember which promotion did it, but they had, like buttons or something on the corners, so that as the guys went around, it would light up lights on the corners, so you could keep track of what was going on.
Oh yeah, they always do that.
It doesn't seem like I don't remember them doing that in the last strap match.
I think they've always done it since the Attitude Era, because that's how you...
Really?
Yeah. And it's different sometimes, but it's always like a little double... well, I guess they could... I guess people could keep track, technically, but... Well, the thing is, the referee has to wave off the light. When somebody like throws a punch, then the lights get waved off. It's really kind of a stupid concept, but...
Well, I like it, because at least I can watch some lights get lit up.
It was something that
ADD
makes
has
that
something
more
to
interesting
focus
because
on.
every single one ends exactly the same. Like one hits one. It's going to end up like this, and I guarantee you it'll end like this. Rusev will be carrying Cena around with him on the back, choking him out. But every time that Rusev hits a pole, Cena would hit one too, and then Cena does some shenanigans, like he gives him an AA or something, and then dives and hits the fourth one, and that'll be how it ends.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, either that or he whips him around and he gets him in the STF and he holds it on him long enough until Rusev can't get up, and then he touches the last corner.
Right. Okay, let's move on here because we got like a minute left. So Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton in a steel cage match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. RKO is banned, and Kane is the guardian of the gate. Seth Rollins
Orton wins by shenanigans because Kane is going to fuck Seth Rollins with no lube, and he's not even like putting any lipstick on him or say, "Hey, you look pretty tonight. Can I buy you a beer?"
Seth Rollins will win. J&J Security will be okay. So this is how this one ends. It's by escape. Seth Rollins will climb over the top of the cage and then drop down, and Orton will drop down too. But J&J Security will catch Orton, so before Orton falls to the ground, Seth Rollins will fall down to the ground and will win.
Yes, that's true. Well, maybe not that finish, but Orton.
I want to see that finish. That is a really acceptable finish.
Rollins will win. Really, this whole feud has been so. It's easy to forget and not care because it's Orton and he's sort of people kind of don't care about him anymore. But if this was somebody more notable or more in the scene, so to speak, like Daniel Bryan, people would point out how this feud really hasn't been Rollins and Orton. It's been Rollins and his own authority, infighting with Kane, which is completely ridiculous, and there's really no reason to do it, and it's not even interesting. And the only way to make it interesting is if you do the whole swerve of, again, that we fake this whole thing. We're not, we faked this whole thing to throw you off Orton, and we did it again, and we can't believe he fell for it again. Because remember when it looked like Rollins was, that's what happened, right? Rollins was ousting himself from the rest of the authority, and then surprise, everybody was on the same page.
They're doing all the same shit that they did for Triple H and his Reign of Terror that they're doing now. So if you want to see what's going on with that, just watch the Reign of Terror. Not gonna lie, that's pretty much what's happening here. I don't know if that was 15 minutes or not, but I'm hungry.
Yeah. So, just real quick, everyone who listens, if you go to goo.gl/uppercase-D, lowercase-c, lowercase... You know what? Let me just give you the long URL. It's instructables.com/id/edible-party-hat. Holy fuck, you guys. Nacho hat.
I'm hungry. You're gonna buy me that nacho hat, right?
Fuck you. Get your own nacho hat.
Fine. Dig me over. As Yankum's soundboard glitches, I will take the ratings this time around. Friday's episode of Impact Wrestling lost a touch in ratings and viewership. The episode scored 401,000 viewers and a .12 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is down 2% and 80% respectively from last week's rating. Viewership is the lowest since March 13th, and let's see here. That's all for Impact. SmackDown and WWE SmackDown took a hit in viewership and the ratings. The episode drew 2.45 million viewers and a .67 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. Numbers are down 7% and 13%. And Raw, Monday's edition of WWE Monday Night Raw, scored a 2.84 rating. This is up from the 2.72 rating from last week. The show averaged 4 million viewers, 4.038 million viewers, which is up from the 3.665 million from last week. The show ranked 4th for the night among cable originals, behind 2 NBA playoff games and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So people like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta more than like wrestling. With the birthdays, Yankum DDS.
Alright, here we go with the birthdays. On the 22nd, we've got Harlem Bravada, Electroshock, Big Ezekiel Jackson, Jay Lethal. Did we not fix that? We couldn't get that fixed, you know what? I'm leaving it. And finally, on the 22nd, sexy Chucky T, Chuck Taylor. On the 23rd, we've got Tony Atlas, John Cena, Terry Gordy, and Antonio Rocca. On the 24th, we have Yuji Nagata. On the 26th, there is Tank Abbott, Kane, and Lou Thez. On the 27th, we have Lacey. And on the 28th, Alex Riley, Violent J, Jay Leno, and Gunner's mom, Tits McGee. Tits McGee.
And now it is time for This Week in Wrestling with Omega PR.
Yes, this weekend, wrestling history, circa 1935, where Paul Newman defeats Dobie Osborne to win the Georgia Southern Lightweight title in Augusta, Georgia, beginning his third reign. Jump to 1986, where the AWA held Wrestle Rock 86 at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with 22,000 fans attending. Tiger Mask defeats AWA World Light Heavyweight Champion Buck Zumhoff. Sherry Martel won a Battle Royal. AWA America's Heavyweight Champion Sergeant Slaughter defeated Kamala by disqualification. AWA World Tag Team Champion Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig defeated the Long Riders. And AWA World Champion Stan Hansen defeated Nick Bockwinkel by disqualification. The final three matches were contested inside a steel cage, with the Road Warriors defeating the Freebirds. Greg Gagne and Jimmy Snuka defeating Bruiser Brody and Nord the Barbarian. And Vern Gagne defeating Adnan Al-Qaisi in the main event. And in 1990, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig defeats Tito Santana in the tournament final in Austin, Texas to win his first WWF Intercontinental Championship. The title had been vacated when the Ultimate Warrior won the world title from Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. And that was this weekend. Wrestling history.
Happy trails to former ROH champion Takeshi Morishima, who's set to retire after being advised by doctors. And happy trails to Triple H, who said in an interview he refuses to take his shoulder to the post due to a mental block. I can completely understand that. That shit hurts. What should we watch this week in wrestling? Yankum DDS.
Well, I'm trying to decide between Backlash 2000, Chris Benoit versus Jericho for the IC title, or which one was it? It was versus Malenko. Oh, okay, here it is. Uncensored 98 versus Dean Malenko for the Cruiserweight title. So flip a coin. Let's say Malenko is heads and Benoit is tails, and you flip a coin, and whichever one it is, go watch that one.
Well, you have to win. Which one is it?
Okay, well then, versus Malenko at Uncensored 98.
Okay then.
Excuse me. Omega, what should we watch this week in wrestling?
I'm going to suggest that you watch from Backlash 2000, Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit.
Well played, Omega BR. Well played.
I am going to suggest, in honor of 420, RVD versus Sabu in a stretcher match in ECW. Some early days ECW, probably 96 or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but ECW, Rob Van Dam versus Sabu in a stretcher match, and watch it high as fuck. Alright, so that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. We will see you guys next week on 159. You can check us out online, smarksnark.com, twitter.com/smarksnark, facebook.com/smarksnark. You could also check us out. You can also give us a call, and that number is 812-408-9666, 812-408-WOO. I believe that's it. Thank you very much.
Facebook.com/SmackDown? I mean, we don't really use that, but you know what?
Like us.
Yeah, fuck it. We might actually do something with it if people
Want us
probably not, but yeah, I mean, totally, definitely. Omega will do something with that.
Yep. And I understand if you're all going to be really busy playing WWE 2K15 this next week. I can completely understand that, but that's probably not going to happen. But I hope you enjoy yourself, so thank you very much, and I wish you well in your past, present, and future endeavors.
And stay the fuck out of here, Net Jester.
We'll be back next week. Swerve.
Good night, Lubbock.